The back door of the luxury sedan opens, and Amara Oching collapses into the leather seat with a groan of exhaustion. Her eyes are closed before her body even settles against the expensive upholstery. 16 hours. 16 straight hours on her feet in the emergency room, and she couldn't save the last patient. A young woman. Car accident. Bled out on the table despite everything Amara tried. The image of that woman's face is burned into her mind, and all she wants is to go home, crawl into bed, and forget this nightmare shift ever happened. Hongdae, please, she mumbles without opening her eyes, giving her neighborhood to what she assumes is her rideshare driver. The address is in the app. I just need to... She stops. Something is wrong. The interior is too quiet, too luxurious. She smells leather and expensive cologne instead of the usual air freshener and fast food scent of rideshare cars. And there's something else, something metallic and sharp that makes her nursing instincts suddenly scream alert. Blood. Amara's eyes snap open. She's not alone in the back seat. Sitting beside her, pressed against the opposite door, is a man. A Korean man in an expensive suit that probably cost more than 3 months of her rent, and he's staring at her with intense dark eyes that would be attractive if they weren't currently glazed with pain. His white dress shirt is soaked with blood on the left side, and he's pressing what looks like his suit jacket against his ribs. His pale face glistens with sweat, and his perfectly styled black hair is disheveled. "Wrong car," he says through gritted teeth, his voice a low rasp of controlled agony. Amara's gaze snaps to the driver's seat. A large Korean man in a black suit has turned around, and he's pointing a gun directly at her face. The weapon is steady, professional, and absolutely terrifying. Her heart slams against her ribs. Every instinct screams at her to panic, to scream, to throw herself out of the car. But 16 hours of emergency medicine has trained her to function under pressure. And right now, her brain is processing information faster than her fear can catch up. The bleeding man, the amount of blood, the pallor of his skin, the way he's breathing, shallow, controlled, trying not to move his ribs too much. Knife wound, probably. Deep, still actively bleeding. He's going into shock. Her nursing brain overrides everything else. "You're bleeding out," she says, her voice sharp and clinical. "Knife wound to the lower left ribs. How long ago?" The injured man blinks at her, clearly not expecting this reaction. "What? How long ago were you stabbed? 5 minutes? 10? 20? 15 minutes, he says automatically, then seems to catch himself. "It doesn't matter, get out. Now. Driver, let her out." But Amara is already moving, her exhausted body suddenly flooded with adrenaline. She shifts closer to him, reaching for his makeshift bandage. "Let me see." He catches her wrist with his free hand. His grip is strong despite the blood loss, and his eyes are cold. "I said get out. You didn't see anything. You were never in this car. And you'll be dead in 20 minutes if someone doesn't treat that wound properly," Amara shoots back, yanking her wrist free with the kind of authority she uses on difficult patients. "I'm a trauma nurse, ER. I just finished a 16-hour shift, and I've seen enough people die today. I'm not watching another one bleed out because he's too stubborn to accept help. Now let me see the damn wound or shut up and bleed quietly." For a moment, absolute silence fills the car. The driver's gun hasn't moved, but she can feel his shock. The injured man stares at her like she's grown a second head. Then, incredibly, the corner of his mouth twitches. It might be pain, or it might be amusement. "You always talk to armed criminals this way? Are you going to shoot me for trying to save your life? Because that seems counterproductive." She meets his eyes directly, refusing to back down. "Your choice. Let me help, or die trying to look tough. You either way, make a decision fast because you're losing a lot of blood." The man studies her for another long moment. Then he says to the driver, "Drive to the penthouse, fast." To Amara, "You help me, then you forget this happened. Understand?" "Fine. Now move your hand and let me see." He removes the blood-soaked jacket. Amara leans in, her professional detachment sliding into place. The wound is a deep slash across his lower ribs, still bleeding steadily. Not arterial, thank God, but serious enough. She presses the jacket back against it, applying firm pressure. He hisses through his teeth but doesn't pull away. "What's your name?" he asks as the car accelerates into Seoul's pre-dawn streets. "Doesn't matter. You said I'm forgetting this happened, right? She keeps pressure on the wound and watching his face for signs of deteriorating consciousness. Stay with me. Keep talking. What do you do? Besides getting stabbed, apparently. I run businesses. What kind of businesses require bulletproof cars and armed drivers? The profitable kind. Despite everything, Amara almost laughs. The absurdity of her situation is starting to penetrate her clinical focus. She got into the wrong car. How did she not check the license plate? And now she's giving emergency medical care to what is clearly some kind of criminal, while his associate points a gun at her and they speed through Seoul at 4 in the morning. Her mother always said her stubbornness would get her killed one day. Looks like today might be that day. You're not from Korea, the man says. It's not a question, but she answers anyway. Kenya, Nairobi. I came here 5 years ago for a medical exchange program. Stayed because I love the work. And you just finished a 16-hour shift? Yes. Doing what? Saving people who make bad life choices. Apparently that's my specialty. She glances at him pointedly. He actually smiles. It's small, pained, but genuine. I'm Kang Min-jun. I didn't ask. I'm telling you anyway. You're holding my internal organs in place. Seems like we should be on a first-name basis. Amara, and I'm holding your ribs together, not your organs. Though if this wound is deeper than it looks, organs might be involved. Do you feel any internal pain? Nausea? Difficulty breathing beyond the obvious? Just the obvious. Good, stay alert. Keep talking to me. They fall into a rhythm. She maintains pressure. He stays conscious through sheer will and her constant questions. The driver, she learns his name is Yunho, weaves through traffic with the kind of precision that suggests military training. 10 minutes later, they pull into an underground garage of a luxury high-rise in Gangnam. Armed men in suits immediately surround the car. Junho gets out first, speaks rapidly in Korean that's too fast for Amara's still developing language skills, then opens the back door. Can you walk? Amara asks Min-jun. Yes. Can you walk or can you walk without passing out? Because there's a difference. Help me up and we'll find out. She assists him out of the car, keeping pressure on his wound. He's tall, at least 6'2", and despite the blood loss, his body is solid muscle under that expensive suit. And he leans on her more than he probably wants to admit, and together they make it to a private elevator. 40th floor, Min-jun tells Junho. To Amara, my penthouse has medical supplies, everything you'll need. You have a fully stocked medical room in your apartment? This isn't my first emergency. Wonderful. I've always wanted to provide medical care to a career criminal. Junho makes a sound that might be a suppressed laugh. Min-jun's eyes glitter with something between pain and amusement. You're very mouthy for someone in mortal danger. I've had a long night. My filter stopped working around hour 12. The elevator ride is smooth and fast. They exit directly into a penthouse that takes Amara's breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Modern furniture that screams money. An art on the walls that's probably worth more than she'll make in her lifetime. But she doesn't have time to gawk. Min-jun is getting heavier against her side, and she needs to work fast. Junho leads them to a room that looks like a private medical clinic. Clean, organized, stocked with supplies that most emergency rooms would envy. There's even an examination table. Amara gets Min-jun onto it and immediately goes to work. Junho, I need hot water, clean towels, and get me that IV kit. She points to a shelf. You. She looks at Min-jun. Stay still and stay conscious. I'm going to clean this wound and see how deep it goes. For the next 45 minutes, Amara falls into the familiar rhythm of emergency medicine. She cleans the wound, relieved to find it's deep but hasn't hit any major organs. So she administers local anesthetic. Min-jun barely flinches and sutures the gash with practiced precision. 23 stitches. She starts an IV for fluids and antibiotics from his surprising medical supply. Through it all, Min-jun watches her. Those dark, intense eyes track her every movement. You're good at this, he says as she's bandaging his ribs. It's my job. Most people would panic. You got into a car with armed criminals and you're treating it like a normal ER visit. Trust me, I'm panicking internally. I'm just also really good at my job. She finishes the bandage and steps back to assess her work. You need monitoring for the next 6 hours minimum. Signs of infection, internal bleeding, fever. You should really be in a hospital. No hospitals. So you said. Then you need someone to watch you. I've done what I can. But if you develop complications, you'll stay. Amara stops. Excuse me? You'll stay here. Monitor me yourself. I have a life, a job. I need to go home. Min-jun nods to Junho, who pulls out a tablet and brings up security footage. Amara watches herself getting into Min-jun's car outside the hospital. Watches 2 motorcycles briefly follow the car before peeling off when they lost the trail. Those bikes? Min-jun says quietly. Those were the men who stabbed me. They were looking for my car, and they saw you get in. Amara's blood turns cold. What does that mean? It means they'll assume you're important to me. They'll look for you. They'll find you, and they'll use you to get to me. If I send you home now, you'll be dead by sunrise. The casual way he says it makes it even more terrifying. Ash, you're saying I'm in danger because I helped you? Yes. That's insane. That's my world. He sits up slowly, wincing but maintaining eye contact. I'm not the good guy in any story, Amara. But right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and people who will do worse than kill you to get information about me. You're safe here. You will not be harmed. But you cannot leave. Not until we neutralize the threat. How long? Days, maybe a week. A week, her voice rises. I can't just disappear for a week. I have shifts. I have bills. I'll handle it. Your hospital will be told you have a family emergency and you've taken leave. Your rent will be paid. Whatever financial obligations you have, I'll cover them. You can't just, I can and I will, because the alternative is sending you home to die, and I won't do that. You saved my life. The least I can do is preserve yours. Amara stares at him, this dangerous, bleeding man who's calmly informing her that she's now a prisoner. I want my phone. No, you can't. Your phone can be tracked by my enemies, by authorities. You can't contact anyone. Junho extends his hand. Amara clutches her phone. But what choice does she have? Slowly, reluctantly, she hands it over. This is kidnapping, she says. This is protection. You're a criminal. Yes, but I keep my word. You stay here, stay safe, and the moment it's secure, you walk away, free, unharmed, with compensation for your time. I don't want your money. Then consider it hazard pay. He tries to stand and immediately sways. Amara catches him on instinct, steadying him. You need to rest. That wound needs time to heal, and you've lost a lot of blood. Will you help me, or do I need to find someone else? She should refuse, should demand to leave, should scream, fight, do something other than accept this insane situation. But as she looks into his eyes, she sees something unexpected. Not just the pain, not just the dangerous power, but a desperate kind of honesty. He's telling the truth. She is in danger, and he will protect her. For now, she has no choice. Fine, she says, but we're establishing rules. I'm not your prisoner, I'm your nurse. Professional relationship. You don't touch me without permission. You don't threaten me. You don't control me beyond what's necessary for safety. When I say you're healed and it's safe, I leave. No arguments. Deal? Min-jun extends his hand. Deal. She shakes it. His hand is warm, strong, and she hates that some traitorous part of her notices how it feels. Junho shows her to a guest room. It's beautiful. King bed, ensuite bathroom, windows overlooking the city. It would be paradise if it wasn't a cage. After he leaves and locks the door from the outside, Amara sits on the bed and finally lets herself feel the terror, the absurdity, the sheer impossibility of her situation. She got into the wrong car, and now her life will never be the same. If you're already hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button right now because this is just the beginning. Drop a comment telling me what you would do in Amara's situation. Would you help the injured man or run? And smash that like button if you want to see where this dangerous romance goes. Now let's continue. The first 24 hours are surreal. Amara wakes in the unfamiliar luxury bedroom, disoriented, half convinced the previous night was a nightmare. Then she sees her clothes from yesterday, still stained with Min-jun's blood, and reality crashes back. She tries the door. Locked. She tries the windows. They don't open, and she's 40 floors up anyway. She's well and truly trapped. A knock at the door makes her jump. "Miss Amara?" It's Junho's voice. "Breakfast." The door opens and he wheels in a cart with more food than she could eat in 3 meals. Korean dishes, but also, surprisingly, ugali, sukuma wiki, and chapati. Kenyan food. "How did you?" Boss asked what you might like. "We have a chef on staff." Junho's expression is neutral, professional. He also asked that you check his wound when you're ready. He's in his office. He should be resting. You tell him that. No one else can. After Junho leaves, locking the door again, Amara eats mechanically. The Kenyan food is good, which annoys her. She doesn't want to be comfortable here, doesn't want to feel anything but anger at her captivity. But she's also a professional. Min-jun needs medical monitoring, and that's what she'll provide. An hour later, Junho escorts her to Min-jun's office. It's massive, all dark wood and leather, with one wall entirely made of windows. Min-jun sits behind an enormous desk, working on a laptop. He's changed into fresh clothes. Black slacks, black dress shirt, and looks considerably better than he did last night. Still pale but alert. He looks up when she enters. "You slept?" "Eventually." "Yes, you should still be in bed." "I have work." "You have a serious stab wound that could become infected or start bleeding again if you overdo it. Lie down." "I'm fine. I'm the medical professional here. Lie down or I'm not checking the wound." They have a staring contest. Amara crosses her arms and doesn't budge. Finally, incredibly, Min-jun stands and moves to the leather couch along one wall. He lies down with barely concealed reluctance. Amara kneels beside the couch and carefully lifts his shirt. The bandage is clean, no bleeding. She peels it back gently to examine the wound. The stitches are holding, no signs of infection yet. "Looks good," she says, replacing the bandage. "But you need to take it easy. No heavy lifting, no sudden movements. Rest as much as possible." "Noted." "I'm serious, Min-jun. You tear these stitches, you could bleed out before I can fix it again." "I believe you." He's watching her with those intense eyes again. "Thank you. For last night. For staying. I didn't have much choice." "You did. You could have refused to help when you first got in the car. You could have panicked, screamed, made things worse. Instead, you saved my life. So thank you." Amara sits back on her heels, studying him. In daylight, without the blood and pain, he's devastatingly handsome. Sharp features, strong jawline, eyes that seem to see right through her. And there's an intensity to him, a controlled power that's both frightening and magnetic. "Who are you really?" she asks. "I know you run criminal enterprises. But what kind? Drugs? Weapons?" "No drugs. I don't touch that business. No human trafficking. Those are my hard lines." He pauses. "I control territory. Nightclubs, restaurants, entertainment districts. I provide protection to businesses in my area. I settle disputes. I maintain order in spaces where the law doesn't reach." "You're a mobster." "I prefer organization leader. But yes, I run Seoul's largest criminal syndicate." "And the people who stabbed you?" "Rivals. The Hwang organization. They want my territory. This was their opening move. How does this end? With them backing down or being eliminated. I'm working on the former, prepared for the latter." Amara stands, putting distance between them. "I'm a nurse. I help people. I'm not part of this world. I know, which is why you'll leave as soon as it's safe." "I meant what I said. You're not a prisoner. You're under protection." "There's a difference. Feels the same from where I'm standing. Would you prefer I'd sent you home last night to be killed?" She doesn't answer because they both know the truth. As much as she hates this, he's right. Those men saw her. They'll look for her. Here, she's safe. The days start to blur together. Amara checks Min-jun's wound 3 times daily. She's given access to most of the penthouse, the living areas, the kitchen, a library, even a gym. But certain rooms stay locked, and she's never allowed to leave. Guards are always present, respectful but watchful. Min-jun works constantly from his office, but he starts seeking her out for meals. At first she refuses, preferring to eat alone. But he's persistent, and eventually she agrees. Tell me about Kenya, he says one evening over dinner. Why? Because I know nothing about your country except what I've seen in movies, which is probably wrong. So she tells him about Nairobi's chaos and beauty, about her family, her mother who raised 3 children alone after Amara's father died, about her younger brother and sister who are still in school, about the smell of mandazi in the mornings, the sound of matatus honking, the red dust that gets everywhere. You miss it, he observes, every day. But my family needs money. I send home 60% of my salary. Here, I can make more than I ever could in Nairobi. I can give my siblings opportunities I never had. That's why you work 16-hour shifts. Yes. And you still have student debt from nursing school. She stiffens. How do you know that? I had you investigated for security purposes. I know your full name, Amara Akinyi Ochieng. I know you're 29. I know you've been in Seoul for 5 years. I know you share an apartment in Hongdae with 2 other nurses. I know you send money home twice a month. I know everything. The invasion of privacy should anger her. It does anger her. But there's something else in his tone. Not predatory, but protective. Like he needs to know these things to keep her safe. What about you, she counters. Do I get to know everything about you? He's quiet for a moment, then, what do you want to know? Why crime? You're clearly intelligent. You could do anything. Could I? His smile is bitter. I was 14 when my parents were killed. Car accident. My older brother was 17. We had no other family, no money. My brother did what he had to do to keep us alive. He joined a gang and worked his way up, made sure I ate, had clothes, went to school. When I was 16, he was killed in a territorial dispute, shot protecting me. Amara's breath catches. I'm sorry. After he died, I had 2 choices. Die on the streets or take his place in the organization. I chose to live. I was smart, strategic. I rose through the ranks. By 25, I controlled my own territory. By 30, I'd consolidated power and eliminated most of my rivals. Now I'm 35, and I run an empire built on violence and fear. But you have rules. No drugs. No trafficking. My brother died because of heroin. An addict killed him over a fix. I swore I'd never touch that business. And trafficking, that's not crime. That's evil. I won't profit from destroying lives that way. So you have a code. Even criminals need lines they won't cross. They're quiet for a while. Amara sees him differently now. Not just a dangerous man, but a survivor. Someone who made impossible choices and lived with the consequences. Do you ever wish you could leave this life? She asks. Every day. But this world doesn't let you retire. You're in until you're dead. The moment I show weakness, someone will take everything I've built and kill me in the process. That's no way to live. No, but it's the only way I know. On the 3rd day, Min-jun's fever spikes. Amara is checking his wound when she feels the heat radiating from his skin. You're burning up, she says, pressing her hand to his forehead. The wound's infected. I'm fine. You're not fine. What, you're running at least 39 degrees. We need to get this fever down and increase your antibiotics. She spends the night at his bedside, monitoring his temperature, changing cool compresses, adjusting his IV. In his delirium, he talks. Fragments of memories, names of people long dead, admissions of loneliness he'd never make conscious. Hyung, he mumbles, calling for his dead brother. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Amara's heart clenches. She holds his hand, murmuring reassurances, keeping him grounded through the fever. At dawn, his temperature finally breaks. His eyes open, clearer than they've been in hours, and he sees her sitting beside him, exhausted but alert. You stayed, he says, his voice rough. Of course I stayed. I'm your nurse. You could have let me suffer. It's payback for keeping you here. I don't let patients suffer, no matter who they are. Something shifts in his expression. Gratitude, wonder, something vulnerable. I'm not worth your compassion. Everyone's worth compassion. That's what separates us from monsters. He stares at her for a long moment, then so quietly she almost doesn't hear. You're remarkable. The compliment does something dangerous to her heart. She stands quickly, professional mask back in place. Rest. I'll check on you in 2 hours. She's almost to the door when he speaks again. Amara. She turns. Thank you. On the fourth day, Junho brings urgent news. Min-jun and Amara are having breakfast, a routine now, when Junho bursts in. We've identified the men who attacked you. The order came from Hwang Jun-seo, the Hwang organization's second son. Min-jun's expression goes cold. Confirmation? Solid. We have 3 independent sources. And the woman? Min-jun asks. Have they identified her? Junho hesitates, glancing at Amara. Yes, they have her name, her workplace, her address. Amara's blood runs cold. They know who I am? There's a price on your head, Junho says bluntly. 5 million won for information about your location. Min-jun stands, his controlled fury filling the room. Double the security on this building. No one gets near her. Put our best people on finding Hwang's operation. I want locations, schedules, weaknesses. Already being done. After Junho leaves, Amara realizes she's shaking. They're hunting me. Min-jun kneels in front of her chair, his hands on the armrests, caging her in. They won't find you. I promise you that. You're safe here. For how long? A week? A month? Do I just hide forever? No. I'm going to end this. Soon. By killing them. If necessary. That's not a solution. That's just more violence. That's the only language this world understands. There has to be another way. What would you have me do? Ask them nicely to stop trying to kill us? I don't know, but I don't want people dying because I got into the wrong car. He stands, paces away, runs his hands through his hair. You think I want this? You think I want you in danger? But you are, and I will do whatever it takes to keep you alive. Even if it means becoming the monster you claim you're not. If that's what it takes. Yes. They stare at each other across the space. 2 people from different worlds, yes, trapped together by violence and circumstance. I should hate you, Amara says quietly. I know. But I don't. And I don't understand why. I don't understand it either. That night, Amara can't sleep. She's thinking about her family, her job, her life that's on pause. She's thinking about Min-jun, about the contradiction he represents. Violent but principled, powerful but lonely, dangerous but kind to her. She's thinking dangerous thoughts about what it would be like if they'd met differently, if he wasn't a criminal and she wasn't his captive, if they were just 2 people who connected. A noise from the living room breaks her spiraling thoughts. She gets up, opens her door, unlocked from inside, and finds Min-jun standing at the windows, staring out at Seoul's lights. Can't sleep either, she asks. He turns surprised. You should be resting. So should you. Your wound is healing fine. You're an excellent nurse. She joins him at the window. The city stretches below them, millions of lights representing millions of lives. Normal lives where people don't get kidnapped or hunted or fall for dangerous men. Do you ever feel trapped, she asks, up here in your tower, looking down at a world you can't really be part of? Every moment of every day. Then we're both prisoners, just different cages. He looks at her, really looks at her, and something unspoken passes between them. Recognition, understanding, connection. If we'd met differently, he says carefully, if I was just someone you sat next to on the subway or met at a coffee shop, would you have given me a chance? I don't know. Maybe. Hey, would you have wanted one? From the moment you got into my car and ordered me to let you help instead of being afraid, I've been fascinated by you, your courage, your compassion, your refusal to be intimidated. So yes, I would have wanted a chance. But we didn't meet on the subway. We met in blood and violence and impossible circumstances. I know. And you're a criminal. I know that too. And I should want nothing to do with you. You should. But I keep thinking about you, wondering about you, wanting to know more. And I don't know if it's Stockholm Syndrome or something real. Min-jun turns to face her fully. I can't give you normal. I can't give you safe. My life is violence and danger and dark things you should run from. Hey, but if this is real, if what I feel when I look at you is real, I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe, to give you choice, to be worthy of whatever you're willing to give. What do you feel when you look at me? He reaches out slowly, giving her time to step back. When she doesn't, He cups her face gently. Hope. For the first time in 20 years, I feel hope that maybe I could be something more than what this world made me. Amara's heart hammers. She should step back, should maintain professional distance, should remember he's keeping her here against her will. But his touch is gentle, his eyes are honest, and she's so tired of fighting what she feels. I don't know what this is, she whispers. Neither do I, but I'd like to find out, if you want that too. Before she can answer, alarms shriek through the penthouse. Red emergency lights flash. Junho's voice crackles through an intercom. Boss, we're under attack. Multiple hostiles in the building. Get to the panic room now. Min-jun's entire demeanor shifts in an instant. The vulnerable man disappears, replaced by the cold, lethal crime boss. He grabs Amara's hand and runs. They sprint through the penthouse as the sound of gunfire echoes from below. 35th floor, Amara thinks. The attackers are on the 35th floor and climbing. Min-jun pulls her into his office and presses a hidden panel. A section of the wall slides open, revealing a reinforced room. The panic room. Get inside, lock it. Don't open it for anyone but me. Where are you going? To stop them from reaching you. He tries to push her inside, but she grabs his arm. You're still healing. You can't fight. Well, you'll tear your stitches. I don't have a choice. Min-jun. He kisses her. Hard, desperate, like he thinks he might not survive to do it again. I will come back for you, I promise. But I need you safe. Please. The gunfire is louder now. Closer. Amara steps into the panic room. Min-jun closes the door and she hears the locks engage. She's alone in the reinforced darkness with only emergency lights and the distant sounds of violence. 30 minutes pass. Each one feels like an hour. She hears gunfire, shouting, then silence. Terrible, endless silence. She waits. Prays to God she's not sure she believes in anymore. Thinks about the kiss, about the feeling of Min-jun's lips on hers, about all the things she wants to say if she gets the chance. Finally, a knock at the door. Amara, it's me. Open the door. She recognizes Min-jun's voice, but fear makes her hesitate. How do I know it's really you? You told me your grandmother died of malaria when you were 12. You decided to become a doctor, but couldn't afford medical school, so you became a nurse instead. You send 60% of your pay home to Nairobi. You drink your coffee with too much sugar, and you hate kimchi, but you pretend to like it to be polite. And last night, for the first time, you admitted you might feel something for me. Was that enough information, or should I continue? She opens the door. Min-jun stands there and her heart sinks. He's bleeding again. His white shirt is soaked red at his side. His face is pale. His jaw is clenched, but he's alive. You tore your stitches, she says. And I'm aware. Sit down before you pass out. I'm fine. You're bleeding all over your expensive floor. Sit. Down. Even now, even after a firefight, she orders him around. And even now he listens. She examines the damage. 3 stitches torn, the wound bleeding, but not catastrophically. She can fix this. She gets supplies from the medical room and works quickly, her hands steady despite her racing heart. How bad was it? She asks as she stitches. 3 attackers made it to this floor, all alive in custody. We'll find out who sent them. Did you? I didn't kill anyone. Not in front of you. Not if I could help it. She finishes the last stitch and meets his eyes. You're trying to be better around me. You make me want to be. I'm just a nurse. You're not just anything. The moment stretches between them, heavy with everything unsaid. Then Amara does something reckless. She leans forward and kisses him. This kiss is different from the desperate one before. It's a choice, a declaration, a surrender to what they both feel. When they finally break apart, Min-jun touches his forehead to hers. I'm falling in love with you. I know it's insane. I know it's been less than a week, but I need you to know, whatever happens next, you change me. You made me remember I'm human. I'm falling too, she whispers, and it terrifies me. We'll be terrified together. 2 days later, Junho identifies the men who attacked the penthouse. They work for the Hwang organization, and under interrogation, they reveal a terrifying plan. Hwang Jun-seo wants Amara alive. He's planning another attack, bigger this time. specifically to capture her and use her as leverage against Min-jun. The news hits Amara like a physical blow. They're coming for me specifically? Min-jun's expression is deadly. They think you're my weakness. They're right, but they won't get the chance to exploit it. What are you going to do? End this. Today, we're raiding Huang's operations tonight, taking out his leadership, forcing a surrender or eliminating them entirely. That's a war. It's the only way to keep you safe. That night, Amara watches from the penthouse as Min-jun prepares to leave with 30 of his best men. He's wearing all black, armed with weapons that make her stomach turn. This is his world, violence and power and danger. Before he leaves, he comes to her. If something happens to me, don't say that. If something happens, the union will make sure you're protected. You'll be safe, your debts will be paid, you'll be able to go home. I don't want your money, I want you to come back. I'll do my best. She grabs his jacket, pulls him down for a fierce kiss. You promise to come back, keep your promise. Always. He leaves. Amara waits. Hours pass. She paces, checks the time obsessively. Junho stays with her, silent and watchful. At midnight, alarms blare again. But these aren't their alarms. These are different, urgent, wrong. Junho's phone rings. He answers, listens, and his face goes pale. Boss was right. It was a trap. While he's raiding Huang's facility, they're sending a team here. For her. Before Amara can process this, the penthouse's main door explodes inward. Armed men pour in. Junho positions himself in front of Amara, weapon drawn. Run! The stairs! Go! But there are too many. Junho goes down fighting. Amara tries to run, but strong hands grab her. Someone hits her, and the world goes dark. She wakes in a warehouse, tied to a chair. Her head throbs. Her vision swims. Standing in front of her is a Korean man in his 30s, expensively dressed, with a cruel smile. Miss Oh Chiang, he says in perfect English, so nice to finally meet the woman who brought the great Kang Min-jun to his knees. Who are you? Hwang Jun Seo, and you're my insurance policy. He makes a call, puts it on speaker. Min-jun answers immediately. Jun Seo, if you hurt her, you'll what? You're currently raiding my father's office while I have your woman. Who do you think planned this better? Amara hears the rage in Min-jun's voice, barely controlled. And what do you want? Your territory. Sign over your operations in Gangnam. All of it. You can keep your life and leave Seoul. Refuse and I kill her. You have 1 hour. Don't you dare, Amara shouts. Don't give him anything. I'm not worth your empire. Junseo backhands her. She tastes blood. The sound Min-jun makes is inhuman. I'm coming for you. Both of you. You have 1 hour to run before I burn your entire organization to the ground. Junseo laughs and hangs up. Amara spits blood. You just made a terrible mistake. Really? I have you. I have all the power. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Min-jun won't negotiate. He'll come for me, and he won't stop until you're finished. Let him come. I'll kill him and take everything. 30 minutes later, the warehouse doors explode. Min-jun doesn't enter. He erupts into the space like a force of nature, followed by armed men who move with military precision. The firefight is brutal and fast. Junseo tries to use Amara as a shield, but Min-jun is faster. He moves like violence incarnate, and within minutes, Junseo is on the floor, disarmed, with Min-jun's gun to his head. Give me one reason, Min-jun says, his voice dead calm, why I shouldn't kill you right now. Boss! Junho limps in, wounded but alive. Police are coming. We need to go. Min-jun looks at Junseo with contempt. You're not worth it. He slams the gun against Junseo's temple, knocking him unconscious, then rushes to Amara. He unties her with shaking hands, checking her for injuries. Are you hurt? Did he? I'm okay, just bruised. And we need to go. He lifts her into his arms despite his own injuries and carries her out. In the car, speeding away from the warehouse, Amara realizes she's crying. The adrenaline crash hits her all at once. The fear, the violence, the terror of thinking she might die. Min-jun holds her, murmuring in Korean, his hands gentle despite the violence they just committed. I thought I lost you, he says. When Junho called and said they'd taken you, I lost my mind. I would have burned the world down to get you back. I knew you'd come. I love you, I know it's insane. I know it's impossible. But I love you, Amara. And if you want to run from me when this is over, I'll understand. I'll make sure you're safe and let you go. But you need to know, you're everything to me. Amara pulls back to look at him. This dangerous, violent, impossible man who somehow became her whole world in a week. I'm not running. I love you too. You ridiculous, infuriating man. I love you and I choose you. I choose this, whatever this is. If you'll have me, if I'll have you, Amara, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you. They kiss, and it tastes like blood and tears and promises made in violence. It's not perfect. It's not safe, but it's real. This story isn't over yet, and if you want to see what happens to Amara and Min-jun, you need to stay until the very end. Like this video if you're rooting for them, and comment telling me whether you think their love can survive his dangerous world. Now let's see their ending. 2 weeks later, the Hwang organization is dismantled. Jun Seo is arrested for kidnapping and attempted murder. His father, to save face, publicly disavows him and withdraws from all conflicts with Min-jun's organization. The threat is over. Amara is safe. She's back in her apartment in Hongdae, back to her normal life, back to the hospital. Her roommates ask about her family emergency, and she lies smoothly, a skill she's apparently learned. But everything feels different, wrong, empty. She goes through the motions, work, sleep, eat, but her mind is always elsewhere, with a dangerous man in a penthouse who promised to let her go. 3 days after returning home, she finds an envelope slipped under her door. Inside are documents, her student loans, paid in full, her apartment, purchased outright in her name, a bank account with enough money to support her family for years, and a note in Min-jun's precise handwriting. You gave me 8 days of seeing myself as something more than what this world made me. You can never know what that means. I can't repay it, but I can give you freedom. From debt, from worry, from me. Be safe. Be happy. Be the amazing woman you are. If you need anything, Junho knows how to reach me, but I won't contact you. You're free. Mporm. Amara stares at the note, tears streaming down her face. He's keeping his promise, letting her go, giving her freedom. She should be relieved, should be happy, should move on with her life. Instead, she makes a decision that would probably get her killed in a horror movie, but feels absolutely right in this moment. She goes to his nightclub. The guards recognize her, let her through without question. She navigates the crowds, the pounding music, the strobing lights until she reaches the private elevator that leads to Min-jun's office above the club. She takes it up. The doors open to reveal his office. Familiar now, after 8 days of being trapped in his world. He's at his desk, working on something, looking tired and lonely and beautiful. He looks up and freezes. Amara, you paid off my debts. He stands slowly. You weren't supposed to come here. You don't get to make that choice for me. I was setting you free. What if I don't want to be free from you? He comes around the desk, stopping a few feet away, like he's afraid to get closer. You deserve better than this life, than me. Stop telling me what I deserve. I'm a grown woman who makes her own choices. She steps closer. And I choose you. Not your money. I'm paying you back every cent. Not your protection. I can take care of myself. You, the man who listened to my stories about home, who tried to be better because I was watching, who risked everything to save me. Do you still want me? Every second of every day. Then stop pushing me away and let me in. Really in. Your life, your world, all of it. It's dangerous. Everything worth having is dangerous. I'd rather face it with you than be safe alone. Min-jun closes the distance between them, cupping her face in his hands. You're sure? Because if you do this, if you choose this life, there's no going back. You'll be part of my world. That comes with risks, with danger, with complications. I got into the wrong car and it changed my life. I'm not sorry, are you? Best wrong car in history. They kiss, and this time it's not desperate or scared or violent. It's a promise, a commitment, a beginning. 6 months later, Amara still works at the hospital, but she lives with Min-jun. They're learning to balance her world and his, the nurse who saves lives and the crime boss who protects his territory. It's not perfect. There are still dangers, still threats. But Min-jun is slowly legitimizing his businesses, finding legal paths, trying to build something cleaner. For her, for their future. She meets his organization, dozens of men who are fiercely loyal to their boss, and by extension, to her. When one gets injured, she treats him. Word spreads. Soon she's the unofficial medical provider for the organization, bridging her world and his. He meets her family via video call. Her mother is suspicious. Her siblings are shocked. But they see how he looks at their daughter. In their sister like she hung the moon and stars. They see how happy she is. And slowly they accept him. On a Friday night, they're in the penthouse kitchen. Amara is attempting to cook ugali while Min-jun watches with barely concealed amusement. "This is harder than it looks," she says, stirring the pot with determination. "You're a genius trauma nurse. I'm sure you can handle cornmeal. Trauma wounds I can handle. Ugali is apparently beyond me." He comes up behind her, wraps his arms around her waist, rests his chin on her shoulder. "I love you. Even though I'm a terrible cook, especially because you're a terrible cook. It means I get to take care of you sometimes instead of always being the one who needs saving." She turns in his arms. I still can't believe I got into the wrong car. I still can't believe I was lucky enough that you did. No regrets? Only that I didn't meet you sooner, that I wasted years being alone when I could have been searching for you. You have me now. For how long? Forever if you'll have me. Min-jun produces a small box from his pocket, opens it. Inside is a ring. Simple, elegant, beautiful. "Then marry me. Make this official. Be my wife, my partner, my everything." Amara stares at the ring, at this impossible man, at this life she never planned, but can't imagine leaving. "Yes, absolutely yes." He slides the ring onto her finger, and they kiss as Seoul glitters outside their windows. It started with a wrong car, a mistake, an accident that should have been a tragedy. Instead, it became the beginning of everything. Amara Ochieng, trauma nurse from Nairobi, and Kang Min-jun, Seoul's most powerful crime boss. Two people from different worlds, brought together by blood and danger in an accident of fate. They're not perfect. Their life isn't safe, but it's real, and it's theirs. And sometimes the wrong choice becomes the right one in the most unexpected ways. If this story moved you, if you believe in love that starts in impossible places, I need you to do 3 things. First, smash that like button. Second, subscribe to this channel because we have more Afro-Korean love stories coming that will make your heart race. And third, leave a comment telling me, do you believe Amara and Min-jun can make it work? Would you take a chance on dangerous love? Share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching this journey from wrong car to right love. Remember that sometimes the biggest mistakes lead to the best destinations. Sometimes the wrong path takes you exactly where you need to be. And sometimes love finds you in the most unexpected, dangerous, beautiful ways. See you in the next story.